And what I can tell you is this, all the things that I've learned over the, I don't know, what is it, 14 years of playing around with this credit game, right? Figuring out this credit stuff is that I would still start sooner, earlier. If I had to start over today.
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. We just got done our 3-day virtual event, the 0% boot camp. It was incredible. I can't shout out enough all the individuals that didn't just show up, but also played full out, right? We had a great attending percentage and so forth, when usually it's not that high. People screw around, even when they financially invest, people for some reason or another don't show up. And so many people did, high percentage rate. Many people invested in themselves, taking it to the next level, wanting something bigger and better. They got a ton of knowledge, truthfully, like a fire hose. So praying that they all can digest it and sit with it, pray on it, take notes, go back over the recordings, because they got a lot of juicy stuff. If you missed that, you missed it. I apologize for not getting it in front of you ahead of time. But if you are looking for that and would like to see the recordings, too bad. It's only for the people showing up live. What you can do is be on the lookout for next time when we do this, okay? We are thinking about doing this in about 30 days from now, okay? So sometime next month, it's a great opportunity for you. You're going to want to tune into it. So be on the lookout and, keep your eyes peeled for it. It's going to be a great opportunity. With that being said, let's dive into the meat and potatoes, right? The meat and potatoes. You don't want the veggies right now. You want the meat and potatoes. Let's get down to it. So if I was starting over, right? If I was starting over fresh in today's market, I've done a podcast on this similar in the past, a while back. And it was really just related towards real estate, how I would do it, how I would go about it. But now, what I really want to cover is not just real estate. I want to talk about the whole aspect of business growth and in general, right? Things that I would put more time, energy, efforts that are going to financially pay off, as well as rewarding and prosperous of helping other people, right? It feels very good when you find purpose and you're making a huge impact. You're helping out others and you're getting paid for it. Like, man, what a win-win, right? There's a heck of a combo with that when you're doing it properly. So I don't have any particular order. I was taking notes on this. It caught my attention, it caught my heart, and I felt like you guys had to hear it. So I just wanted to jump in here and get to it. I was going to leave this as number 2 or, again, no particular order, but then I feel like I got to just say it. It's always credit related. Let's talk about it for a second. And I'm not trying to promote or anything, but let's face it, a foundation always needs credit, right? You always need funding. You always need the strategies. Are there other ways to bootstrap it? Is there other ways to start with little to nothing? Are there other ways to be able to, start from the mud and make your way up? Of course. But why work harder versus working smarter? Like, why not position yourself properly? And so what I know now from all the trial tribulations, the hard work, the time, energy, efforts, right? The uphill battle with weights on me, you know what I'm saying? It's like I made all the mistakes. I made all the struggles. And what I can tell you is this, all the things that I've learned over the, 14 years of playing around with this credit game, right? Figuring out this credit stuff is that I would still start sooner, earlier. If I had to start over today and I had nothing with my credit, nothing to my background, I would focus opening banks. I would start applying, obviously with a clean credit profile. I would start applying to some of the big banks, such as like Chase, Bank of America, US Bank, American Express, Citi, Discover, stuff like that. Some of these big banks, Wells Fargo, and get just their beginner basic card. I wouldn't get a secure card, and I wouldn't get a student card. Definitely wouldn't do any of that. But what I would do is get their beginner card, right? Such as Discover It card for Chase Freedom or Freedom Unlimited. For Amex, I'm talking the blue, plus or cash. Bank of America, regular cash rewards card. The Capital One, Quicksilver, or the Citi Double Cash. These are the basic tier type of cards. Like, you're going to want to prepare yourself and be positioned to get those basic tier type of cards. And of course, if you have a bank relationship with any of these banks, it's going to help, especially if you're saying the right things and you know how to talk to them. But that's where I would start initially, because that can get us, 50 to 100,000 fairly quickly, just on the low end, even if you have nothing to your name, to be able to position yourself to start building a good relationship over time. That's number one, right? Super important. And I think, as always, people will always sleep on it, but you want that low tier type of credit card, not some kind of high tier, signature, Visa signature, or any elite type of product, if you will. Okay. Next, I would focus something AI related, something, finding a common big problem out there, a big problem with an AI solution for it. And I would market it to high income earners. Or if not high income earners, I would do you could potentially do a combination of this, right? And use the cheaper version as a lead generation to the high ticket. But for the other option I was going to give is something that is super helpful and that's more cheap, like super cheap, that could just be utilized for everybody, right? I don't know what the heck that would be. If you don't know either, that's okay. Like, Google it, ChatGPT it, use AI to figure out some common problems that the average public human being has and see what kind of ideas you can come up with, right? And then ask your audience, ask the world, ask social media, get surveys on what is the big problem. And if you came up with a solution that's AI driven, that is creative and an opportunity to be able to solve it, especially to people that are not up to date with AI, you may be, I may speak to you because you're a business owner and you're like, dude, I get AI. Everybody's doing AI. Trust me, it's us in our circle that's focusing on AI, and other businesses for sure. There's a lot of people out there that are sleeping on tech related stuff and AI in general, and are going to need these services and overall help in general. So if you can find a legitimate problem that either high income earners, business owners could utilize and capitalize off, for example, AI setting, like AI setting bots, instead of utilizing human beings and having a nightmare with that, or just not being able to systemize that right, you can set up AI bots. And there's tons of them out there now. And we've gone through several that was just a nightmare. We're actually using one now that we are more happy with, right? And we're willing to pay for it. If it produces results, we're happy with it and we're okay with that. So by all means, like, you could utilize something like that. For example, I'm just shooting out an example that just came to me. For the business side, high income earners, I'm willing to pay for it if you can show me data and KPIs on a dashboard that match up with the ROI and the results. Because now you're painting the picture of, hey, even though it's $100,000 that I'm paying for it, it's getting me back $1 million. It's a no-brainer, right? These are crazy numbers that I'm talking about, but if you just come in with crazy numbers but don't have the dashboard and the data to back it up, then nobody's going to believe you, right? So make sure your product works. It's amazing. It's solving true problems, and it's a no-brainer, right? And then on the other end of that, though, if you could do cheap and something that hits the whole world, right? You got 8 billion people in this world. If you could sell something, a dollar to each one, boom, it adds up. You're making an impact, you're filling purpose, and you're getting filthy rich while you're doing it. So it's not a bad gig. Real estate, of course. Let's talk about real estate for a quick second. If you're interested in real estate, and I love real estate. Real estate has changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. It was the thing that took me out of poverty, realistically. The catalyst to do it though was this, guys. It was this. Right? So get the foundation of this because it brings freedom to the other things, right? So get the foundation, and then afterwards get the knowledge of real estate. You should always get some type of real estate. I always am a big advocate of every single human being, or at least, nationwide in our country, you should have some real estate. I would go as far though to say every human being, right? You should have at least 3 pieces of real estate, because what that can do for you is get the tax benefits, the cash flow, the depreciation, the appreciation. It just adds up. Like, you need it. And so we don't have any money into any of our deals from doing the BRRRR strategy. So I would still recommend doing the BRRRR strategy, because, if you get 3 units, 4 units, you can get 3 or 4 of them. You're talking 12, 16 units. It adds up. It serves a huge purpose. Have no money into it, utilizing, again, massive funding that we're talking about here. 0% utilization or 0% interest hidden on the business side, utilization temporarily, right? Also, though, you could definitely just be a hard money lender, right? You could take these type of funds and you could simply just be just like the bank, right? Being the bank is always the end play for all investors anyway. Like, every single real estate investor I've ever met ends up wanting to just be the money, like the bank at the end, right? Because you're just doing a note. It's just paper that you're hanging on to. That's it. You're securing yourself. You're protecting your assets. You live, you learn, you make mistakes along the way, but you're betting on people and you're betting on assets and you're securing yourself. And that's always the best place to be in, right? So you really have a chance of making a lot of money off that, protecting yourself and taking it to the next level. So I love all of that. I'm a big advocate of it. Make sure that you're secured, protected, and being the bank is such a powerful, powerful position. What I also love is, relationship capital is something that if I had to start over today, it's something that I acknowledge that is so important, so important. It's mind-blowing. If you live in defense, in lack, in, there's not enough, or I gotta just accept these limitations and low dollar amounts and all this other nonsense, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind, respectfully. I say it with love. I hope you take it as love. I don't know. Well, at the end of the day, this is how I look at it. There is so much money out there, and there's people that are just connected from being at the right place at the right time and being in these atmospheres that curate money conversations, that curate investment opportunities, and that curate just that relationship capital that other folks that aren't necessarily that come from those neighborhoods or those areas aren't accustomed to. And the conversations in the hood for opportunities are more like drug related, right? Like, hey, you can flip this, you can do this. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, finding yourself surrounded by not just mentors, right? But also surrounding yourself at, the golfing range, right? Like, go golfing. It's a lot of money on the golf fields, on the golf course. I don't know. I don't golf yet. And so it's one of those things I need to get into. I see so many of my friends that do golf that are collecting and getting a bunch of partnerships and a bunch of money out there is what I'd say. And so golfing, tennis, boats, surrounding yourself around pilots, right? Like, all these things add up. And you're following the money trail. Like, a lot of money, a lot of business owners, a lot of investors are in those pockets. And so find yourself there, like, get a membership to the boating club or the yacht club or whatever. Like, find those pockets and learn how to fly. It doesn't cost as much as you may think. Like, do all these things because you can start surrounding yourself with other individuals, next level thinkers, and people that are getting access and talking about investing and opportunities, deals, and ways that you can partner up and you can leverage relationship capital and opportunities to be able to take advantage of quicker. And if you know this foundational piece with so many people out there skip on, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to bring that tool, that advice, that knowledge to the table as another stepping stone above others to be able to help them out and to be able to pull them up in those relationships as well. So, but I've seen people that aren't good at business, that aren't savvy at all, but more screw ups than like that, they haven't found their purpose yet and all these other things in the golfing or the tennis or the boats or, those areas, planes and so forth, and keep on being surrounded by all these opportunities. They are further ahead and they're not even trying to a certain degree. They just fell in love with golfing or tennis or, boats or planes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, keep an eye on those things. And if you can get around it, get around it. I truly believe it's going to set others up for success. Another thing that, following the money, following the trail of, success leaves clues, right? Is focusing on, becoming a hedge fund manager. And I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds wild, but if you follow what billionaires teach their kids, a lot of these guys are getting the homeschooling or private schooling, like getting the sports in and all these things at a young age, horseback riding, stuff like that. Like that's another one to add to the list, right? Because it's expensive and it adds up. But at a certain point when they go off to college, they're getting into these high-end universities. If they are going to college, which many of them push them to, they go to a high-end university and either from pool or from relationship capital, right? From a pool to get them in there or, paying for it or getting scholarships and so forth. And then once they go there, they just do something basic, business, whatever. And right when they get out, they either do one of two things. They either go back to work for the family business or instead of the family business to take that over down the road, they go work for a fund manager, private equity fund. And so what that looks like is they turn into basically a cold caller and building relationships over time. And they're just pounding the pavement, learning how to talk, dress nice, look clean, be professional, learn how to talk business and hit the pavement running with like the hard knocks, right? That's just what it is from what I've seen. And so this is the one place that down the road, you do those things, you learn how to talk to people and you start calling these doctors and telling them about opportunities. And now you're raising capital for these investment opportunities. And before you know it, you have a book of business of 100, 200, 1,000 people that you're managing. And you've raised 40, 50, 100 million plus, and then it turns into more and more. Then you branch off and you start your own thing, right? You come back into your own company, right? Your own family company, or you start your own thing and doing the same process. You get a team underneath you, start building up, kind of like an MLM or like an insurance agency. Like you have people calling to get these deals, but now you just start building your book of business. And obviously you always have to do good by your investors. You got to get them a strong return, but it's such a crazy piece of it that, it really, really adds up. And hedge fund managers, another reason why I say it, it's not just what the wealthy do, like the billionaires, what they do with their kids, but it's also a place where the average person can become a billionaire, which is wild, right? It's like self-made, turn it into that. Yeah, just wild stuff. So success leaves clues, money leaves a trail, pay attention, and you'll see the icing on the cake, right? If you have no goals towards that whatsoever, right? And you just want to do something more, I wouldn't call it amateur, I'd call it realistic. I call it, everyday type of human being. Then check this out. What I recommend is focusing on finding a recession-proof business. And recession-proof business is such a common token of a phrase nowadays, because we've been in a damn recession for a long time. We've been in a downward spiral. We're going through some economic turbulence and so forth the last couple years with the last administration and so forth, and just the transition and trying to get it, with the wars and all these other nonsense going on, trying to actually stabilize this thing. It's not going to be easy on President Trump whatsoever. But check this out. Setting yourself up for quote unquote a recession-proof business. Think about the things that are mandatory, that are needed, such as water tanks. When they go out, right? So, that's a plumbing type of trait. So maybe consider getting some plumbing certificates and learning how to do that, or just focus on replacing water tanks, right? Or, it's simple stuff, or electrical or HVACs, right? Another thing that is really lucrative right now, and I'm sure it's still going to be like a recession-proof type of thing to a certain degree. It's going to be more middle class and wealthy to a certain degree, but it's home to home, in-home service of IV treatments, right? You can go get certified fairly quickly for giving somebody a needle in their arm to shoot them up and hit them with an IV. And, IV for vitamins and nutrition and like cleaning up and filter out and all these other things. Like, you could do those in-house service and charge $100, $200, $300 and just drive around and knock out, 10 of those a day. Man, it adds up. And so that comes down to marketing. It comes down to obviously getting certified and being good at it and being okay with giving needles. But I'm sure the margins on it, from what I've understand about it, it's like, that's lucrative. You can turn that into a multi-six-figure business fairly quickly, and then if you decide to, elevate and delegate and start outsourcing, hiring others to do it for you, man, it can really, really be lucrative. So keep that in mind. And, another thing that I've been seeing lately that I wish somebody would knock on my door to do it. And I'm about to tell Jen's little brothers to hey, start this business, little man, because it's so lucrative. I would pay anything around $100 to $200 for it. Probably. I really would. But in cities specifically, this will work the best, obviously, not in rural farm kind of areas, but in cities, you got typically on the curb of your driveway or by your house, there's the curb to the street and your driveway or path. Why am I blanking out on this? A walking path, right? And the sidewalk. And so usually your house number is at the curb, right? Painted on the curb. There's so many of them that are outdated, that are faded, that look like crap, that are all messed up. Man, it is the easiest, most lucrative thing to go online on Amazon or go to Home Depot and just buy all the numbers, 0 through 9. You got all the numbers there. And then also some spray paint. You get white, you get some different colors, whatever. A majority of it's going to be white. And then, or you could just get regular paint and paint that sucker, get a rolling brush. It's probably cheaper. And then on top of that, think about the city that you're in. Think about the sports teams, the, certain things that people may like. If it's ocean themed, get a little dolphin or a whale, little logos outline that you can, add as little upcharges. But you could go just door to door and say hey, I saw that your house number is faded right there. Did you know that if there's ever an emergency and somebody, had to call 911, it could take longer and more difficult for the ambulance to get there, or the police and the 911 or whoever. So it's it could take me 5 minutes, and Betsy across the street and John and Susan, couple houses down, they're doing it. They recommended me to stop by and chat with you for a second. It's only $40. It's only $60. It's $80. And here are my options. Oh, cool. This is the 80 for the standard. That's all just white. Do you want the color, which is 100? Or do you want to add another 20 on for an upgrade to put this little dolphin, or, the basketball team for your city? Things like that. There's so many little things that you could do to make it pop out, to be done, to be quick. It's going to take 20 minutes of your time max. You door knock, you get an impulse buyer, you get somebody to respect your hustle, and who's not going to? You know, you could do it. Anything above $5 is going to make you money. You could do it for $20 a pop. You know what I'm saying? And still make money. Playing the door-to-door game is always going to serve you best. It's always going to serve you best because you're not just getting impulse buyers, you're getting people right then and there. Yeah, you're going to have some people that are pissed off. They're not pissed off at you. They're just pissed off at life. They're just pissed off in general, and they got to take it out on somebody. And when you come up to them in their domain, in their home, their sanctuary, it's easier for them to take it out on you because they feel like king of the castle. Don't let that stuff bother you. Like, shake that stuff off. Keep it moving and say, God bless them. You know, it's a numbers game. You get one no, great. Get excited because you're one step closer to that 40 or 30 or 20 that you need to. You start playing, you start keeping track of your KPIs, the doors that you're knocking to get to the one that is buying. Then you start realizing over time exactly how many doors you really have to knock before you get that one, you know, and so you can get excited behind it, right? It's all a numbers game. And there's a filter behind it. I remember when I was doing door-to-door sales for Kirby vacuum cleaners, I think they said every 10 doors you should be able to get into at least one, right? In addition to that, every 3 presentations you should get a sale, right? So the whole goal was to do 3 presentations a day to be able to get a sale. Now, sometimes you would have to hit 10 doors or 100 doors or 200 doors to try to get, 10 people, 20 people to answer the door, let alone like open it, welcome you in, catch them off guard and all the other things. But what I could tell you is that when there's a will, there's a way. And I think that's a great opportunity for people to capitalize off of it and acknowledge like this is something that somebody would be willing to pay for. And if you go into some nice neighborhoods that they have an extra $100, $200, $50, $20, $40, who's not going to pay that? Especially if it's like outdated, dusty, and people will pay it. And there's about a dozen in my damn neighborhood that I bet you would pay it. And so if somebody doesn't come into my neighborhood soon to do it, I'm going to start my own business. All right. I won't be doing it. But anyway, I think that's a great opportunity for somebody. And it's right in front of you. Like it's right in front of you. See, when you stop playing defense and worrying and being affected so much by fear, which absolutely breaks my heart. We all go through it at some times. But if you're not living in faith, you're living in fear. And fear comes from the lack of faith. It comes from the lack of purpose, right? Like you're getting overwhelmed by fear, but that comes from the enemy. That comes from, the enemy is always there to kill, steal, and destroy. We've heard this. We know this. That's what the word says, And so because the word says it, we know it to be true. And when you acknowledge like that's not serving you, it's not from your Heavenly Father, then you got to cancel that stuff out. You got to realize that you were made in his image and that you are like defined to do amazing, incredible, unimaginable things, right? And you have dominion over this earth. So you don't need to live in fear. You don't need to live in defeat, right? Like he has won. So anyway, not to get on a preaching thing, but understand like this is something that like you can really, if you're not worrying and having all this fear, anxiety, stress, then you can live more abundantly and start taking territory, taking offense approach. A couple things to be able to get more into an offense approach is number one, your Heavenly Father. Like truthfully, hands down, it's the only thing. It's the only thing that's going to give you peace. He's the King of peace. And if you declare it over your home, declare it over your life, your day, and every time you wake up, you're just thanking God for, hey, this is the day that he has made for you. Then man, like what else can stop you? You know what I'm saying? So living more in gratitude and not counting on all the negative things, journaling that stuff, count out what needs to get done, and then do the best that you can. Give yourself some patience, some peace, some gratitude, like count the blessings, right? And the stronger you have with that Heavenly Father, I truly believe that he will bring peace in all other areas and make sure all understanding is taken care of. Whatever is bothersome and struggles and difficulties, leave that in your hand and give it to him. Truthfully. Like watch those other things just melt away. That's just what it is. Anxiety, stress, fear, the money, the people, the whatever, all that stuff will melt away. It's his business. It's his household. It's his marriage with you and your wife or your husband. Like it's these things that it's only up to him, right? And so that's number one. Number two is, again, when you get this foundation of credit, then it gives more power. It gives more power because you're not desperate. You can be very strategic. You can wait. You got two pieces to this part, like just the funding piece of it. Number one, you know how to get much, much more funding at any given time. It's every 6 months you can get more of it per person, up to 500,000, as little as 0% interest. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. In addition to that, when you're doing this properly, when you're a member of Credit Counsel Elite, this is the type of stuff that you can get access to. In addition to that, you know how to fix credit in as a member of Credit Counsel Elite. Like, you know how to fix credit, and you know that anything negative, derogatory, delinquent, anything that's currently hurting your credit profile, that's pulling you down, you have the authority to be able to remove, improve, and drastically change over a period of time. So if you know this to be true, then what do you really have to lose? You don't have too much to lose at all. The opportunity, the only thing that you have to lose is just not taking advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you. So you can be patient. You can be like strategic. I only take down 1 or 2 real estate deals per year for the simple fact that I'm not a sucker. I'm not looking for a new job. I'm not looking for a decent payout or a mediocre payout or even a good payout. I'm looking for home freaking runs. I'm looking for home runs. If I can get a home run, that it would be, there's no way in hell the earth would have to freeze over for me to lose money on this. I am walking away with $250,000 at least on this deal, but most likely projecting about double that or more. Then shoot, that's the type of deal that I can't refuse. I can't walk away from. And because I have the foundation of capital, because I know how to get more of it, and because I know how to fix, shoot, what's stopping me? Now I can be aggressive. I can take action. I can capitalize off of that opportunity, and I can take it down. So knowing all these things, the last point that I want to mention is crypto. If I had to start all over again, I would focus on crypto. I would focus on crypto, and I'd become a guru on it, not to teach, not to preach, but I would focus on learning all the insides and outs, and I would be very, very conservative. As much as I say that now, but I would try. I'm an aggressive type of investor, just so you know. But I would try to do my best to just play with small bits of money, small bits of credit, small bits of financing, just to test, just to see, okay, am I getting this until I feel very experty. When I feel very experty and it's like, man, I just keep winning no matter what, right? Then I would go back to my normal aggressive mode, right? Or, mediocre. But the crypto situation is every 4 years typically, right? We're going into a bull market right now, but then after that dies off, it's going to be, really shorting a lot of things and then waiting for 4 years until it comes back. So it's kind of a waiting game, not too much ups and downs during that process. But there's always money to be made on the way up, money to be made on the way down. So pay attention to it. Stocks, another thing that could definitely be educated on and go down that rabbit hole and geek out on it so that you can understand. Very similar to crypto. There's a lot of things that are out of your control on it. Differently than crypto, though, crypto has a shortage from it. Like, they're not making more of it, which is great, and it's not influenced by a CEO or anything. Yes, it does follow the stock market to a certain degree, but it has been separating itself from the stocks just slightly, and I think that will become a bigger and bigger gap over time. But overall, it does show more of a 4-year trend, up and then down and so forth, and so trending upward. Needless to say, it's one of those things that it will serve you more than likely than not in the longevity of things. It will probably get up there and do well. So, and who knows, maybe you do a little combination of that AI stuff serving a lot of people in crypto. Who knows? anyway, I think there's power behind all these things. Like if I had to start over, this is what I would do. This is what I would do. These are some of the things that I was just journaling and I was like, man, this would be cool. This would be boom, 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 boom. And it's not like I could not jump into any of these right now. If I was passionate about all this and if I wanted to desperately and direly, I could and I would. And what I would say is a majority of these things I am playing around with to a certain degree. I'm slightly invested in a majority of these things is what I would say. And so there's bits and pieces in there that can really, if I had to start completely over, I would double down in a couple areas or one or two of the areas to really go all in. And I'm confident that it would serve me over time. So anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you found value in it and had fun with me doing it. If you guys are enjoying this stuff, would love to hear more from you. DM me on social media, DM me on, Brandon Elliott Investments or Credit Counsel Elite. Just DM me and say, man, just listen to the podcast. I liked it or it sucked, I got thick skin. I'm from New Jersey. It's okay. You can tell me how you feel, but I would love to know. I really would. And if you're finding value in it, then I want to hear from you. If you're not finding value, I still want to hear from you. I just want to hear from you. Just talk to me. Come on. Just kidding. What else? And hey, check this out. Even though you missed this past weekend, right, for the 3-day virtual event 0% bootcamp, or if you made it, hey, congratulations. Praying that you decided to invest in yourself. And if not, I'm praying that you soaked up knowledge and ran with it. If you weren't there though, which I would assume a majority that are listening weren't there, because I didn't really promote it. We kept it strictly just to ads, not too many things here. But what I can tell you is you're going to want to be at the next one for sure. Like hands down, it's like we're impacting, changing lives and breaking off financial curses off people like that. And I couldn't be more blessed and all glory to God for exactly what he's dropped for downloads for me and as well as how bad he wants to see this transform. Like I truly believe it's a God mission in this. And I couldn't be more honored and privileged to be counseled by him to be able to pour into you. So with that being said, just super grateful and honored in such a wild season of blessings. We moved into our dream home. We got our pool over the weekend. We were getting it all fixed up and done and like it's filling up with water right now. It feels good. All I gotta say is it feels good and super grateful. So anyway, love you guys all so much. Appreciate you for all the thumbs up, little hearts, and all the good things. Reach out if you have any questions, comment below. Would love to know, if you had to start all over, what would you do? Otherwise, if you're looking for funding, and I'm talking about massive amounts of funding, and you want to learn how to do it with us, not for you, but I want to show you how to do it with you, and we meet you halfway, showing you how to get up to $500,000 with rates as low as 0%. Then look no further. Go to creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. We will see you on the inside. Till next time, guys. God bless. Peace.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.